So I've gone in and sanded everything. I had filled in with this stuff here, wood filler, all the corners, and then after I nailed it, see there's the nail holes. Helps to have a good light. This is the same day that I glued it. Just a couple hours later, I let the glue sit. The nails will hold it fine, but once you start abusing it, like tipping it like this, I like to give it a couple hours. So all the corners are clean. Sanded off any filler that was in the corners. I mean, it's kind of like the way you could get it perfect, or you could just call it good enough, because it's going to get all covered up with gesso and everything anyway. So I'm going to say that's good enough. I've got some gesso mixed up. Just normal acrylic gesso, Liquitex. This stuff's really thick, so I thin it a little bit. Notice I say thick gesso. Anyway, that's all here. I'm just going to paint on the gesso now. The standard stuff. Try to get it down into the grooves of this molding that I got at Home Depot. Already comes with the rabbit, super nice. You don't have to cut that rabbit. I don't know how they do this automated carving. I have to sand it down a bit because sometimes it's got rough edges. It's pretty cheap molding. $13 for 6 feet, or maybe it's 8 feet. Anyway, I just go around and paint the whole thing. So I'm not going to record that whole process. But the next step after this, sometimes I put 2 coats of gesso on, just depends on how it looks. Probably better if I wasn't in a hurry to use 2 coats of gesso. Seals it better. I might sand in between coats as much as possible. But the next step after that is to put on the burnt sienna acrylic. I've got one here. I've just done that too. This has been sand. It's been gessoed twice, and then I applied burnt sienna. And you can see that's that step of the process. The step after the burnt sienna is the gold leaf. So anyway, I'll do that later. And then after the gold leaf, you mix black and alizarin crimson acrylic, and you paint it over the gold leaf, and then you wipe it off just in spot. Cool. Okay. So I have already painted on this Mona Lisa Speedball Metal Leaf by Mona Lisa. This is adhesive. I painted it on a half hour ago. It gives it time to get tacky. Just with a brush, I did it in this groove here, and I did it on the knobs and out to the edge. I did not paint this little highlight bump here. You might even be able to see the shine. I don't know if I can get the reflection to show up here, but perhaps it will work on the light. Anyway, let's make sure I didn't lose that. Yeah, it's still there. Okay. I got my gold leaf here. Come on, gold leaf. I've cut it into strips. Imitation gold leaf. A whole packet of, like, I don't know, 20 sheets of 4x5 was $8 or something. If you buy the real gold leaf, it's like $50 for something ridiculous, like, I don't know, 10 sheets. It's way expensive. This is quite reasonable. Quite reasonable. Okay. And I just work my way around. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I just bumble along. Putting on the gold leaf. You can overlap it. I've seen some tutorials where they like roll it in. I don't know, it's so hard to handle. I just do what I can. Some of the flaws that come in with this gold leaf actually look better than, they look cool. Like, it makes it look so old. And I don't know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Anyway, there we go. And I'm just going to work my way around this thing. There's really no magic to it. I'll show you the next step when I get there. Okay. I'm going to stop this video. Obviously, I cut this into strips. I cut the gold leaf into strips with these big old scissors. These are like the best scissors ever. They cut paper, leather. I think these are $35. They're WIS W13LO. These are scissors. They'll cut through anything, and they'll certainly cut through this gold leaf, which comes in packages of, you know, that many sheets. So I went all the way around it, applying the gold leaf, and now they say you're supposed to use like a soft brush. Make sure this is recording. Yep. I don't know. I'm not sure what's the best approach here, but you squish it down into the grooves, sort of gently patting it, so that it gets to all the places where we were hoping it would get. And it always looks like it's just not going to work at all. And it looks rough and unfinished. But what's cool about it is I'm going to take black acrylic paint mixed with alizarin, and I'm going to paint over this whole thing. It's going to cover up all the gold leaf and this burnt sienna. And then I'll wipe off what I want to be clean. Let's see. And then what I typically do is I go in and I fix problems. Like, I know that this isn't supposed to have any leaf on it at all, this section here. Hopefully that'll come off. It shouldn't have glue on it. It's supposed to be like that. It's possible that I got sloppy when I put the... No, it's coming off, yeah. And the gold leaf is where it should be. This is a stiff bristle brush. Sometimes it helps, seems to help the process. Speed it up a little bit. Helps me to see where I need. Like, I've got gaps that I need to fill with more leaf. But you can see it's starting to show its true colors. The sloppiness at the edges is going to get covered up by the black paint that I put in. Black and alizarin. Alizarin crimson. because there's a few gaps where I'm just not happy with how much gold leaf went on, and I want to add more. Like maybe right here the coverage is pretty incomplete. So I'm going to do that. Like, let's say I wanted to patch this gap right here. You probably can't even barely see it. But the gold leaf, because it's brittle, it just lifted over and flaked away, didn't ever stick. So I can try to patch those gaps by very carefully poking the gold leaf. It'll only stay where it needs to stick, where it needs to stick. Just the major flaws, get in there. It's almost like it. If I have a big gap that I can't get the gold leaf to stick to, I'll actually add more glue and just glue in more gold leaf. But typically I get to a point where I'm like, you know what, screw this. I've spent enough time on the gold leaf. I've let it set for a couple days, although I don't think you need to. I just was on a trip. So now I want to do the final coat, which is going to be acrylic ivory black mixed with acrylic alizarin crimson. Right here, alizarin crimson. Mixture of the two. I never know if these are going to turn out. This is only like my third or fourth frame that I've done using these hand painted methods. Got a brush, I got water over here off screen. Mix the black and acrylic. I guess it kind of makes a wood color. And I'm just going to paint it on. Everywhere. Probably I should start on the side actually, because that one is I don't care as much about the side. It's not the part that will be shown or that will be visible to the person that buys this frame that much. I like the black and the alizarin. And you can see I'm not being very careful here as I mix these colors. I'm just randomly mixing up black and acrylic. Trying to keep a little bit on the red side of black. I know that doesn't sound very scientific, but I'm not a scientist. I'm an artist. Wannabe artist, however you want to describe that. A little bit of water now and then, just to make it flow better. I have no idea if this is focusing or not. Maybe that's not enough red. I'll brush in more red to keep a little bit of a red bits. My hands are going to get real dirty real fast. And it's pretty easy to just look at it and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna need more black, need more red. This side is, boy. Well, that's why I'm an artist, right? It's the artistic side of making a frame. Nothing's ever perfect. I hope I didn't spray the lens there. This one needs a little bit more black. Okay, I'm gonna call that good enough. Now, back to the hard stuff. I started over here, and this is gonna dry really quick if I'm not careful. I'll get some water on it. Here's my water. And I'm just gonna, I need more alizarin. I seem to be going through that at a high rate of speed. Keeping that just sort of eyeball eyeballed my color. And the reason why I'm painting over the gold leaf is because I think it's too much gold. So it's not that I don't want that much gold, it's that I want the gold to look antique, like it got dirty and smoky or something. And some of my edges, like where the gold sort of, I wasn't very careful about when I glued it on. I got some glue on that, which I wanted to be ungold. So I'm laying the black on, which will help, the black and red, help cover these flaws in my gold leafing. Almost made it all the way around. Just randomly, kind of how I paint when I'm painting oils. Is I'm just randomly dipping the brush and paint and seeing what comes out the other end. Okay. How's that looking? Too much red down here. Looks like I cut my finger and bled all over the paint. Frame, I mean. So add some black. Too much raw paint right there. I can see it. I'm trying to get the same tone all the way around. That worries me. Everything worries me. And then I start to realize, well, I've got too much bubbles in the paint surface. So then, now that I'm at the point where it's all coated, I just try to uniform the tone. Okay. And then I'm going to move this out, and I'm going to try to make sure that everything's well coated. Lots of black, especially on the gold area. I'll start wiping the brush on the table, which is why the table is so messy, and bringing some of the excess out. Like the thick layers, I kind of do this smooth curve around the corner to make that look flat and soak up some of the excess paint. Get all that excess out of there. Okay, same thing along the gold. Trying to get a smooth strokes. All the excess bubbles hopefully out on here. Okay, that's looking pretty clean. This looks a little bit weird. Okay. Okay. Now I come in for the magic. Obviously the gold's got to be wiped off so it shines again. See how nice that looks? Oh god, that's pretty. And I'm just wiping the gold off the top. And I think I'm going to leave the gold unwiped. The big piece of gold on the inside. I would like that to just sort of look like gold that is really old and antique and got dirty or something. Because the gold shines through the paint. I suspect the paint is transparent. And I like the way that the black and red acrylic right now is sort of covering up flaws in my work. Sinking down into the gaps to give it an aged look. Old smoky room, dirty painting kind of thing going on here. I'm kind of tempted to wipe off that rib between the two golds. But maybe not. I don't know. Because each thing I wipe off adds more color to the frame, which may or may not be a good idea. Head in the, okay. And now I'm going to go around and lift out this rib right here if I can, yeah. it adds another color. Just this little bumpy rib. It's tricky. I'm trying to bring the, you almost need to get my rag a little bit wet. There's my water. I'm dipping in the water. Okay, there we go. Yeah, see how that lifts out there? Looks like another piece of wood in there, but all I'm doing is lifting out the black and acrylic. With water. That's nice. I think this time it might turn out. I'm really tempted to go in and touch that gold that's under the paint, but gosh, that could go bad so easy. Too much gold is just gaudy looking, and I don't want gaudy, so there we go. Nice. Feel bad this is taking so long, but you know, this stuff doesn't always fit into a YouTube 30-second. Alright, that is looking great. I think I might have a winner this time. Got a lot of different textures going on. The semi-transparent gold that's covered with paint. The gold that I wiped off. And then this rib that I'm wiping off right now. Hard to see this thing. It's delicate, like I don't want to dip down into that gold. That would be, and then if I did that, it would mean I'd have to repaint it. You do have some wiggle room for errors. You can always come back in, paint the paint back on, then just wipe it off.